right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Land of the Lustrous, Episode 4.
So,
okay, fuss.
Nothing serious happened last episode. Nothing with any kind of implications for the world or the story or anything.
Foss is in two separate places at the same time.
Or at the very least, Foss has some means of telepathic communication with a slug.
Because potential
Merging
memory
at
souls
some point.
left
Right.
over in the goo that was put into
Exactly.
the slug. So
Yep.
Foss is the only one that can understand because it's a link between the memory fragment pieces that make up the majority of Foss's being. Oh, what does it mean?
Magnetism.
Magnetism. That's how they're held together, y'all.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But there's some crazy ways they can take this.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
The Lunarians aside.
Right. Yeah.
Aside.
Forgetting all the crazy stuff that it does for that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways they can take this. This show has its own unique form of pacing with developing not only the side characters, but kind of choosing which kind of side characters they're just going to focus on in an individual episode. But I've been liking so far having Daya and Shinabar being these main side characters alongside
same here.
our main protagonist, Phospholite.
Yes, that's
All
right.
right. So, yeah, it's really just a mystery as to what's happening next.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yep.
yeah. Without further ado, y'all, let's get into this. All right, everyone, we're going to start the episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Ooh, that's a fun sound. Ooh!
Okay.
Lunarians. Oh, adamant? Whoa.
All right.
This is awesome. So in his meditation, there are others trying to enter his mind, maybe?
Maybe, I don't know, or he's trying to commune with them or communicate or
Okay, now
wage
he's...
war.
Oh.
Was that like
Whoa.
a memory of
This
the
music
past?
shift?
Does he not remember either? Okay, so here's an idea. So it could be Adamant has seemed like suspicious, or like he could be a bad guy that's like trying to like keep his hand on all of them, kind of, right?
He just fits that role too well.
Right, he fits that role too well.
Yeah.
But the thing is that with here, what if they made it something where he's actually basically trying to pretend that he's all in control and knows what's going on, and he's actually like
He's exploring.
He's exploring.
He's in his
clueless,
mental
and he's-
space right now,
right,
trying
exactly.
to
And he's
project out and
okay,
learn things.
Let's figure out what's going on,
And it's just been a constant journey of doing that.
Right.
I could see that. The thing that still is crazy is that Adamant doesn't seem to give them the rest of the gems any seemingly mission that
Is like worthwhile.
that seems to be in alignment with that.
Oh,
It's just
gotcha.
protect us.
Right.
Either
Right.
Adamant is shouldering all the burden.
Uh-huh. Which has the potential definitely for, if he's corrupt, to use that for all kinds of bad things.
Right. Or it could be the other kind of thing where Adamant is just getting worn down. There's the aspect of that
Sure.
there. With just shouldering that burden.
Yeah, and
Alone.
maybe he's the strong one, whereas they're maybe more brittle and can break and stuff, and,
Possibly. Spirit, flesh, and bone. Oh my.
Okay. Is this going to be an Adamant-focused episode?
Maybe a world-building focused episode. Jade. Oh. Okay. So he fell asleep.
While meditating.
Right. And began to dream. And that's a
Uh-huh.
problem.
Right, so that was an
Ooh,
accident.
Vessels. Nice. Of course you did.
This
Okay.
Yeah.
About Foss.
Mm-hmm. That face. Wait, what? What?
Okay, this is amazing. I love the voice they chose.
The voice is fantastic.
Okay.
Okay.
Robbed of our reason.
The sand. Could that potentially be jewel dust?
Of sorts, yes.
Like,
I mean, it's just very small specks of matter, solid matter. A barrage of gems. Ah! That sounds terrible. Oh. Ooh. Maybe I was onto something.
Does Foss have the booty? Yes.
Well, no, basically that. They do have some similar. Oh. Foss. Annie, sorry. Oh. Okay, that's a little meta.
Uh-huh.
This is stress. It's a little stress. Woof. Watch, you can see it fall
Yeah,
like
splat.
I'm done for. Maybe he'll be able to speak with it. Okay, he can't understand it. The hearts.
Uh-huh. Wow.
This is interesting. Good. Okay.
And he's acknowledging that Foss actually can understand it. It's not just
Right.
a mental thing or something.
Right. Oh. Oh,
Gotcha. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Oh, wow.
Oh. Okay, Adamant has a
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Oh. That's a line
Well
right
said.
there.
That is a line.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, or unfortunately. Oh, this track in the background reminds me of Legend of Korra.
Oh, yeah.
It's so
I was going to
good.
say, yep.
Oh, just the beauty in this show, Jacob.
This
my
scene
God.
alone might make this my favorite episode.
Oh. There are other lands.
Oh,
remember.
Uh-huh.
Memory. Of course there are.
And it's not like they need to breathe, so.
Ventricosus. Whoa.
But the sea is off limits. What's in there?
Cool. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, see?
Oh my.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
genderless.
Yeah,
so-
yeah, yeah. But they still have the booty.
They still have the booty, indeed. Whoa.
Okay, that
was awesome.
That was great.
That was sweet.
Sure. That probably changes a lot about how they live.
Boss took it.
Yep.
Huh. 100. Oh.
Yeah, totally.
Fashionaholic. I love Foss's personality.
Oh yeah. And the physicality of Foss.
Oh yes, yes.
All the expressions.
Over dramatic, like
Yep.
ah yes, sensei. I'm at your whim, sensei.
food or whatever.
Certain diet.
I was waiting for that. Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
All right.
Foster's just gonna do it anyway.
Yep.
Whoa.
Just like the opening. That is a great point.
Oh, there's the shelf.
That could actually be a good, like, legitimate reason why Adamant doesn't want them to go there.
Yeah. Let's explore.
Okay.
Whoa. Whoa.
Okay.
Wow. Whoa.
True form.
Right.
Of course. Wow.
You're all jiggly.
Wow.
Ah, indeed. Praise be to them. Sexier.
This is quite the 3D model, I gotta say.
I know, right? Oh. They have limited resources on the island.
Sure.
Oh. Oh. Yep.
All right.
Wow. Dang. Spirit, flesh, and bone.
Okay.
So maybe they're the spirit. Admirabilis.
Okay.
Wow.
Gotcha. And that's like the gems and adamant and
Maybe. But what about the spirit though?
is that the Lunarians?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
That
Cool.
might have been the whole. Whoa.
All right.
Whoa. Harvesting the bones essentially would make sense.
Get the memories back, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is kind of, yeah. Wow. Oh.
Yeah, the impatience of the spirit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We should, meaning, yeah, that would be
That
nice.
would be ideal.
Wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I hear a clink.
That is a shot.
Yeah. Oh!
Whoa!
Whoa! Crap! Oh my god!
Okay.
Well, here we go.
All right.
Oh, a trade. Wow.
Whoa.
All right.
That was an episode.
That was an episode.
That was an episode.
We got world building. We got existential talk.
Yeah.
We had, yeah, character development. We had the entire aspect of the Admirabilis or whatever that thing's name was. And it's its own entity. We have the whole spirit, flesh, and bone reveal.
Yep. Which
they didn't even try to make it subtle as to what the connection would be, because I was thinking that they would go the spirit route for the gems, meaning that they each carry a piece of a soul, a memory, a spirit, if you will.
Gotcha.
But instead it might be just the DNA aspect of that. DNA could carry our memories in a physical way.
It's the idea that the by the bone they're talking about all the almost like the more like concrete things, like memories and things like that. and then
it's more fantastical in that regard.
Right. And then the spirit is all the
desires, the will,
wildness, and the
Mm-hmm. Whoa. Okay.
Boy, did we get
God.
some juicy stuff this episode.
This show just gets better and better and better with every episode.
So the thing is, the whole idea of like, secrets in the ocean or something like that, and things would be learned. Cool. Yes.
Yeah.
That's something that I figured it would kind of at some point be explored, whether that was through the ocean or whatever.
I think I called it in either episode 3 or 2's discussion. I said the story is going to lead them down into the ocean.
Right, because they have to go back to where the things began because they don't, all the focus on memory and everything. Right. Okay, so at the beginning of the episode, they had the whole bit with Adamant, with the dreaming, which is crazy in and of itself, but then even crazier taking into account all the flesh bone spirit stuff
that we got. So let's just kind of wrap that up really quickly here.
Mm-hmm.
The Lunarians are the remnants of the spirit.
Of the spirit, right.
And we're just going to take the show at its word, and then it's not trying to double blind us here.
Right.
Now, if that's the case, and he's meditating, it's essentially a form of doing the letting your body be free and your spirit wander.
Sure, yeah.
There's different forms of meditating. There's the empty body meditating. There's the focus your mind meditating.
Right.
But I think his is the empty body because when the gems come to interact, he's gone. He's not there.
Yeah.
And we thought of that as astral projecting, which would be
literally aspect of the spirit.
A spirit being released out.
Implies, what it makes me think of is that, and this is the way that they could have Adamant be the villain, this is a way they could have Adamant actually be like, a really good character that's studying things and isn't necessarily evil.
Maybe just an obstacle for the gems to be free and to truly explore and interact with these other species.
But what it seems like is that he is actually trying to restore himself to being human.
Oh.
That's what it seems like to me because okay.
I like it.
Because that's basically something where it's taking the whole aspect of the spirit for meditation and stuff, and he saw the Lunarians there. Okay. Now, it also seemed like he was doing something to destroy the Lunarians, so maybe it's something where he's trying to, become the ultimate human by, whatever.
Backtrack. I have an easy explanation for why he did the banishment of the Lunarians. Very, very easy explanation there. He freaked out that he was in a dream. And they were all coming up to him. Sure. Basically, he doesn't have as much control when he's in the dream.
Which is an excellent contradiction from the type of character that he's been set up as of being I am the deep-voiced person who...
And also everything on this island goes according to my will.
Right, exactly.
So he has control there, but when he's in the dream, he could lose control. So he banished them as I'm going to leave the dream, but I'm also going to basically release my power, my whatever, to make sure that they don't get a hold on me, and then he quickly left. So I'm guessing that if he remained there even after the poof, he still would have been under threat of being attacked in some way. So that's all that was. He fell asleep in the mid of meditation, which is not something he should do.
Well, and is it something that they're even... Well, no, okay, they have beds. I suppose they're capable of sleeping. Because the thing is that
they definitely do sleep.
But the thing is,
or
if
rest,
right,
or whatever.
But if they're immortal, would they need sleep?
Oh no, I'm dumb. The reason why they sleep is because they don't have sunlight at night.
Oh right,
so they're not getting an energy source.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so he is tapping into the spirit, if you will, by going through with this. So does that mean that he's part Lunarian?
Potentially, he could be part Lunarian, and and that would go with the whole thing of him needing to if it was something where you have to reunite the three parts of what humans once were in order and merge them into one being in order to recreate a human. Because the thing is that the biggest explanation that I could see as for why he stresses that they need to basically have the makeup and stuff so that they look like people,
yes,
is so that there isn't as much of a differentiation between them and him. It could just be for the whole dollhouse aspect or whatever, but I don't think that's what it is. It seems a lot more likely that it's basically like, okay, this is what I'm like.
Yes.
And he's probably not wearing makeup, like,
or he is wearing something way more complicated entirely.
Sure.
And that's something that's very interesting to bring up here is with the Lunarians harvesting them, right?
Mm-hmm.
For experiments, I would just assume.
Yeah.
It's a natural, they just see they see the gems as a natural resource, and they're probably using them to gain knowledge, to learn, and to utilize them for something there.
To give form and direction to the
goal that they have.
Right, to the just general chaotic spirit that they have.
Right. We don't know what their goal is and how they're using the stuff that they do harvest. But I would say that because we now know that the Lunarians have an aspect of the spirit, the whole spirit battle that effectively happened in that split second there with Adamant, I think leads me to believe in that in some ways he's already part of the way there with becoming more human.
I agree.
And the part that he has assumed, I would say, is via the I would say not necessarily the Doctor being in on this, but doing something with the gems that are here already. So it might be something about bonding compatible fragments of gems to him for the purpose of slowly bringing him to a place where he would have but the thing is, the gems have consciousness as well, so it's still like it hurts my brain to think about.
What it seems to me is that Adamant is also bone, right? He comes from like of the three templates, because they said the bone turned into different types of beings, but they ended up basically just going to land, right? But
he's unique as far as we know.
Yeah, but the idea is that he's still bone in origin, right? Because it's that whole idea of like adamant is the solid, right? And so bone as opposed to flesh or spirit. And then he's done some stuff with the whole spirit aspect, maybe flesh too. I don't know. Right. Because the thing is that we don't know what he knows, but there are definitely things that he doesn't know. And that's kind of that's the main thing that makes me so interested in what they do with him, because even if he ends up being a villain, that makes for a way more compelling villain than a villain who just knows everything. Because
obviously he doesn't know everything, but it was specifically how much he doesn't know.
Right, exactly.
In that he seems to be the only one who's he's willing to let explore.
Right.
So there is an aspect of his care for the gems. There could be a sick aspect of that, but I'd say let's take a step back from him being necessarily evil, because he showed genuine seemingly genuine care for Shinobar.
Yeah, and that scene was absolutely fantastic.
That scene was so good.
And there's no way that is a like I would be absolutely shocked if that was like a disguise scene, because that scene was so beautiful and so wonderful that I would be shocked if they were able to craft that into the story and have it be just not genuine.
Here's a way that it can still be genuine but have also the other aspect to it. Is that Adamant relates to Shinobar in the same way that Adamant would be alone.
Sure, absolutely.
And Shinobar also has that wall essentially around them that keeps others at bay, and that could be the empathy, the emotion there, because this is something that's good to bring up. The personality of the new character Ventricosus.
Right.
I love Ventricosus.
Oh yeah.
Everything they did in this episode with this little jellyfish like blob snail thing.
She's great.
Just so good. So good.
And then the twist at the end, it's like, no, what? Okay. All right.
But still the oh god, where was my train of thought going? It's basically saying that the emotion, the type of the parts of humanity that have the good parts of humanity seem to be evenly distributed between the admirabilis for one, and also the gems. They all seem to have varying personalities and aspects of them that I would say make for what is good about humanity. And even Adamant showcased that here. The Lunarians, we have not met anyone with a personality yet.
Right. The Lunarians, and the fact that they're the spirit makes, like, I feel like matches really well because it's this idea of like chaos, right? And and maybe not
I'm
chaos
really
because
interested in your emphasis on chaos.
Well, maybe not chaos because they all act in unison, but
the
idea
that's my thought as
well. A lack of foundation, basically. When I think of the Lunarians,
formless.
Right, I think of them as basically the opposite of Adamant. Because when you think about Adamant, that name is very particular. It's not just that he's a gem or anything like that. It's that Adamant, I think, the earth, like solid, stone, right? That kind of stuff. Whereas Spirit, they're the air, right? They're in the sky and portals and stuff.
Okay, I found a middle ground here.
What?
The reason why they have this beauty, this artistic expression, this uniformity, and all of this is that they are one spirit. It is not the idea of individuals.
They're not able to be separate and individuals because there's no form to them. It's just That's probably why they need the gems, because they need that bone. They need that.
They don't
separation.
have individuality.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
And that's why they have no distinguishing features amongst them, because
it's just this
there's no need
homogenized.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's, if anything, what Adamant is trying to maybe communicate, I would say, primarily with, is the idea that if you communicate at all with the Lunarians, you would need to communicate with all of them. And that's quite daunting.
Right. Yeah.
To say the least. Because I would say that if he's exploring, he can't help but encounter, if they are some overmind thought entity kind of thing, you would encounter that in the astral plane. That would be just too big, I would think, to be, because they wouldn't be bound by physical location, I'd assume.
I mean, we've seen them make portals, so
okay, so
big shout out to Ventricosus's design.
Yes,
in the water, because here's the thing.
God,
like, it's 3D and it's amazing, and the grass is amazing, and all that stuff. But holy crap!
Yeah,
like not just the level of detail, but the level of motion. Like, I feel like this is like Land of the Lustrous here is really showcasing
what you can do
with 3D.
Yes,
because you would. I mean, I don't know anything really about like
it'd be
2D
way
animation,
too expensive to
but
do in 2D.
No one would want to do that much motion on one, like design.
Yeah.
For just a conversation in 2D. That would be ridiculous. That would be absolutely nuts. But because it's 3D, they can just do it.
Yeah.
They can just do it. And
once you've got the the art, the asset and everything there, then it's just, how do we want to make it move? How much time do we want to invest in all that?
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
let's just grab it, pop, put it there, and make it move.
Yep.
I am so excited for this show to go and expand our perceptions of this world, because the Admirabilis, I love the idea that Ventricosus might or might not be the ruler of them. It doesn't really matter to me at this point. But the idea that Ventricosus said we all have our different motivations, that should have been our first hint that Ventricosus was working with the Lunarians.
Right.
Or at the very least was in communication with them. Because the knowledge that Ventricosus had was basically that kind of thing when you're playing Civilization and you bump into them and it shows that you can't sell them communications with a certain nation because they already know about them.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, why can't I? You're already in cahoots. Right. Okay.
Exactly.
So in this case, Ventricosus understands, maybe on some level, the motivations of the Lunarians, and kind of told us potentially what it was, but I think there's more to it than that.
Right. And
the desire to become human again could be it. That could be the motivation.
Right. Yeah, and that totally makes sense, that the ones that are the manifestation of the spirit would
want
have
form.
Exactly. Yeah. And that they have the strongest want. That it's almost, it's so strong that it
Their will
dominates
is
everything.
unrelenting.
Right, it's unrelenting, and there's no room for anything else. Right. That was awesome. Like the whole aspect of what they did with the bone, flesh, and spirit, and how they split it, and the description of the splitting it, but then also how that split changed the properties of each people.
Right.
Like the fact that the Admirabilis have gender, like it's like that makes sense because that's the flesh, that's the whole idea of like the body and all that stuff, right?
Right.
Whereas the gems, it's the the bone, the everything that is like immutable, the
structure.
Yeah. And then with the Lunarians,
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, this is another little, I would say, pin in the whole Adamant doesn't know that much.
Mm-hmm.
Is that if Adamant knew really that much, do you think he would have let Foss handle this creature?
No.
Ventricosus?
No. Yeah. No way.
And just the fact,
unless
you can talk to it.
Yeah.
And only you.
Right.
I think he would have been like, all right, you're going to sit here
mm-hmm.
and you're going to I'm just going to ask it questions.
Right, exactly.
And that's another thing that brings me to the thing of Adamant
mm-hmm.
has already got his own game figured out. Because if he was truly curious and he believed, because he's probably just
mm-hmm.
smart, he could account for variables that are outside of his perception, he would have asked Ventricosus unending series of questions. They're immortal, right? So
mm-hmm. Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Well,
so I think it leads to a couple conclusions, but go ahead.
One of the other things that it could also
mm-hmm.
mean is that if he didn't ask Ventricosus a bunch of questions and all that stuff,
right?
Could it be that he assumed Foss would disobey him? Because here's the thing. He said no going in the ocean, right? Now there's but why? Right? The whole thing of them breaking apart and getting just spread out by the water. Totally get that. That is a great concrete reason of the ocean. That's a scary place. Forget whatever might be in there. Just the idea of being in that element, and then of course the fact that his name is Adamant, so it makes sense that he would want to stay on the land. But what if? Because the thing is, he seems to have taken a great interest in Foss, while at the same time thinking Foss okay, you're not quite ready for a lot of this, you're sort of half-baked, the idea that Foss still has a long way to go, but it's like he's acknowledged that there is something about Foss that is different.
I'm not getting that.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. I mean, maybe it's just me, but or just the fact that Foss isn't really good at anything, so it's sort of don't worry, Foss, we'll find what you're good at eventually, and that's why Foss kind of stands out.
I feel like if anything, we infer the Foss has to have something going for her that's different, because
them,
sorry, that Foss has to have something going for them that's different
mm-hmm.
because they're the main character.
Right.
And I don't think that it's a stretch to say that Adamant believes that on some level, but it's not like
mm-hmm.
Adamant is going to purge those that are not of use.
Oh, no.
It's not like they take up resources. It's not like
exactly.
That, Foss is actively
mm-hmm.
endangering the group in such a way that we
although
need
Foss does get into trouble a lot and people have to save him.
Right, but even with Shinobar, who was an actual danger to them,
mm-hmm.
Adamant didn't even want to do that necessarily.
Right.
It was basically just saying to Shinobar, I will find a solution eventually.
Yep.
And I think that's more in line with something that I'd say would go towards Adamant's motivations.
Right.
Basically, Adamant's motivations is to find an answer to the problem.
Right.
And not just Shinobar's problem.
Mm-hmm.
His problem, but all of their problem.
Yeah, and because when I think about Adamant and the idea of Adamant, and even if he's not a villain, the ways that he could be basically something that is a stepping stone or something that the gems need to split from, is if it's the idea of the coming of age story and the Adamant is basically the previous generation and maybe he's too rigid and holds on to what he knows, right? And basically isn't as willing to take risks or, do things like that, right? And then that could be a way for the gems to basically do their own thing without making it be something where he becomes some Kirei Kotomine super evil, villain that must be defeated, right?
Okay. Can we move on from Adamant?
Okay. Where are you wanting to move on to?
I wanted to go on to the whole thing with basically Fuss, this episode, and Ventricosus, like specifically just these two.
Their whole conversation about like death and things like that?
Well, like everything that they did through this episode. There's so much to unpack. So we can start with the talking about death conversation.
That was just fantastic. Like, because it gets at the aspects of the fact that these people don't die.
Nope.
How does that change how they think, how they live, like all of that stuff. And the way Ventricosus was trying to explain it to Foss was, that was just great stuff.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It's something really special in that Ventricosus is basically saying, hey, do you understand that death is something that others experience and it gives their lives meaning?
Right.
And it's almost kind of pointed of saying, do you guys really think about your life and its meaning?
Yep. Because
you have life.
Yeah, they definitely
surprisingly
do.
So.
Right. But yeah, it almost felt like it was it was shining light on one of the things that confused me up till this point in the series in what's the main story about. Because we have this setting, we have these characters, but for a this is a one course show, right? Yeah. For a one course show, where's the like one sentence description of the direction that this story is going to take? Is it just going to be exploration or whatever? And the fact that Ventricosus brought up the whole idea of death giving people meaning, it was really cool to me because it's this idea that, well, yeah, these characters don't necessarily have a bunch of concrete direction yet because they're in no rush.
Yeah.
Like they could do this for another 100 years. Yep. And that'd be fine.
As long as the Lunarians don't win this never-ending war.
Yep.
Which, I gotta say, now that they're bringing up the whole flesh, bone, and spirit thing, the idea that the spirit is basically constantly at war with the body, meaning the body... the bone in this case. I know they separated body from flesh and bone, but I, in a lot of ways, equate... I would say the core nature of the body in the rigidness of it. Yeah. Basically the immutable, stubborn, immovable, held in place, unchanging aspect of it, whereas the spirit is this evolving, growing, full of brilliance and creativity and like chaos, like you were saying, and they would naturally be in constant conflict with each other.
Oh yeah, and that's most stories, in fact, are about the resolution of those two conflicts.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Whether in people or society.
Right. Yeah. So this whole show feels like it's practically mythic in the levels of depth it could go into the human struggle of existence, basically. Right. Yeah. So I just can't wait for them to just flex their philosophical muscles in this show. Just go for it.
The way the fact that it's flesh, bone, and spirit, and the way that this show is using those three aspects, and the fact that it chose those three aspects, like I feel like that's one of those things where it's like the execution is absolutely excellent. Like what I'm about to say has nothing is nothing to downplay the execution because the execution is stellar. But it's also one of those things of like just the inherent like potential in the concept. Yeah. Like because it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, it's hard to take a concept like that and actually go somewhere meaningful with it. Is what I think you're trying to say, is that it's very easy to flub the execution of that because you're going, I would say, too mechanical and too in-depth into it, whereas a lot of stories, I would say, focus primarily on kind of them as just themes. They're not actually delved into, I would say, too hard.
I would actually say the exact opposite.
Oh, okay. How do you mean?
In that basically, with using it as a, I mean, there's the fact that they're using it as a concrete example rather than as some like, you know, theoretical, you know, whatever.
That's the primary crux of what I was saying.
Okay, yeah. But but that basically taking those things and putting them into concrete form, that concept, that idea in and of itself, like, I'm sure there would be ways that you could do it badly.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but you're saying there's no way you think they could do it badly?
No, but like, if it's basically that as long as you don't do it like horribly, there's so much good stuff there that can be done.
Like, sure.
That, like, you are on a gold mine. Like,
absolutely. I'm not debating that. I'm saying that in terms of the difficulty scale, I think the more philosophical your story is, the harder it is to make it entertaining, engaging, to make a story that actually does well in the execution
so
side
the fact
of
that they're
things.
bringing it into a concrete aspect of the world so that there's this sense of wonder and mystery about everything, and then taking it and tying it back directly, explicitly to concrete examples of the more like the more philosophical concepts.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool stuff. Now, the character of Ventricosus has this pleased, I would say, personality. There's so much pleasure, it seems, that Ventricosus kind of just exudes from just living life.
Sure. Now,
there's this, I would say, whimsical kind of ridiculousness that Foss gives that is over dramatized and hilarious. It's so charming in its just gooberness. Yes, just. But the thing that's interesting is that while Foss might hail from the legend of the bone split, if you will, there's so much to the contrary. Basically, so much out there so far, just with what we've been presented, that could contradict that idea of that being some not binary, but I guess split. That those are entirely separate, and there's no crossover.
And it's like yet, what were you going to say?
And yet Ventricosus basically seems to be excited about the idea of exploring Foss as this, like, just other, just like, oh, Foss, so like, oh, huh.
And that whole aspect of like the personality of how Foss is very, very similar to Ventricosus in a lot of ways, and that Foss is very much opposite to Adamant, say. It's something that like I could see the like there's a part of me that wonders how much of this is because in the story, whenever you're talking about like splitting what it means to be human into separate things, you don't want to fall into the trap of making the characters feel like, little just cardboard cutouts, right? Because I mean, if you think about it, if you're dividing up what makes a person, then you would think you would get something that is less than a person, right? Less dimensionality. And they don't do that, but they balance it very well of making it so that there seems to be something off about all these characters that are gems in their existence and just the way they live, while at the same time giving them the personality required to make us fully engaged and like empathize and identify with these characters, while there still being something that's this sense of we're different. There's this aspect of them that isn't whole, but then at the same time, well, we don't necessarily need to go back to the way things were. If we can like live in harmony together, then that could be even better than how things were back then. But then how are we going to do that? Given how different they all are in these new states. It's good stuff.
It's really good stuff. So Ventricosus as a character has revealed her motivation. She wants to get her brother back.
Totally makes sense.
And her brother Aculeatus.
Aculeatus.
Is some kind of other admirabilis, which the whole admirable, sexy, alluring nature of the flesh being this gorgeous, beautiful thing the way he was like bound above the floating portal disc thing of the Lunarians gives me some interesting. It basically leads me down some interesting paths in my mind.
Okay.
So, you have the Admirabilis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Ventricosus leads back to, her kingdom, which obviously it wasn't. It was just a place for the Lunarians to, take an attack. Foss.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that the Lunarians are essentially waging war on everything, like just trying to gather and bring things back in order to learn or whatever. I don't think I can really go into it right now because my thoughts are still like the Lunarians, a chaotic kind of jumble of stuff. But yeah, I guess I'll just have to save it. I haven't honed those thoughts. They don't make sense even to me. But there's something there that just kind of feels not off, but like there's more to the aspect of the flesh part that we're. Yeah, I don't really know how to get into it.
Maybe it's I don't know. Yeah. Right, because the thing is depending on how you look at it, the whole concept of the flesh could be very similar to bone, or it could be very similar to spirit. Like and
there's the transformation that Ventricosus went. That was like the true form.
Right.
There's a couple things that I'm. Yeah. There's some weird. Okay. I can basically. I'm gonna tease you all with this. I'm gonna formulate these thoughts and bring them up in the next episode's discussion. But what is the when something has form with the bones, right?
Right.
And then you have the spirit, which is formless chaos. What's the third other thing that fits into that? Because those are two seemingly opposites, right?
Right. No overlap. Yeah.
But then you would assume that the flesh would have some overlap with some of the other ones, right?
Right.
I think there's actually a third thing that has no overlap.
Okay.
Either.
What?
And I don't really want to go into it right now because it's a whole nother big thing. But I feel like I'm on the tip of. Anyways. Okay.
One of the things that I thought was really cool was how you have the three splits of humanity, and they go to three different elements, like
very cool.
before there's a fourth fire one, but water, earth and air, right? And then the fact that the Admirabilis, good catch on the whole admirable. I did not make that connection at all. What I thought at first was just admiral, like water, the sea and all that. But that was, I like how those three things are so split, because if you think about those three aspects of earth and sea and the sky, those three don't really interact. Like I mean they interact, but it's like there's a definite separation.
I think you actually brought up something interesting with the water.
What?
I'll just say it. Water is the element of change.
Yes. Right. And that's probably what both of them need, because right, because adamant and earth and all of that and bone doesn't change, right? And then spirit, it's so formless that it can't change because it isn't really anything like defined at any one point in time. Whereas with water, and with flesh, the whole point of flesh is that it's flexible, right, as opposed to bone, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't even want to go down this because I can smell like another hour of discussion and stuff in this, and I kind of want to
save that for another episode when we have more ammunition.
When we have more ammunition, yes, I think we're gonna get some pretty soon. But
definitely my favorite episode.
Funniest line this episode, I gotta say, there was some serious humor this line, but my favorite funny moment was what are those lumps? for.
Yes.
These are my most special parts. Praise be to them.
Yep.
That line just feels
that was great.
I can't even with this show. I gotta say, the dialogue and banter between some of the characters that are banter type characters.
Right.
Which I will admit, there are times where I wonder if they've written certain characters to be
not be banterish.
Well, just specifically to be banterish.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't have any issue with characters like, no, that's not a part of their portfolio, but that's all they do, basically, type characters.
Gotcha.
And it was just so good between Ventricosus and
It really
Fox.
was.
It was amazing.
And the thing is, like,
there were some hilarious moments. This episode.
If you think about it, this is kind of the first episode where Ventricosus is introduced as a separate character, because before we assumed that it was Foss, right? And that's all it was and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But now we've got Ventricosus as this separate character. And we have a betrayal with Ventricosus at the end of the episode. In order to actually have that work and pay off, you really need to make us attached to this new character and like this new character. And they hit that out of the park. Like, I thought this was going to be an Adamant-focused episode with how this episode started. But no, this was a Ventricosus episode, and a Foss episode too. But, like, wow. They did an amazing job with the interactions between those two and the world building that happened in conjunction with that, which, again, if something moves the story along, then you tend to enjoy it even more, right? So Ventricosus is a character, yes, thank you. Mm-hmm. But wow, and even when the exposition was given, because it was very clearly like exposition, like this is the author telling the audience, word of God, this is how things are, until we get, something that says otherwise. It was kept concise. The exposition itself was dealing with something that was very, like, whack and interesting and stuff.
Yep.
And the visuals for the entire aspect of Ventricosus in her form was gorgeous. So, there's that too. And then just the way that they talked to each other with all of the previous conversations, that like talking about death and stuff, that made it so that when they started talking about this, I was wholly 100% on board.
Yeah. There are a couple little subtle things that I noticed, and I'm not really going to go in depth into discussion about them because I feel like this show has so much you could discuss about that it would just be, unending. But there are a lot of subtle things I think I picked up with how you realize the reason why the snail was dropped here at all, was specifically for this mission.
Right. Yeah.
Like, does that not blow your mind? That's the creativity, I think, of the Lunarians, but in combination, I would say, what's possible when the flesh and the spirit work together.
Right. When
they think
the different
come up with plans together.
Portions, are all coordinated and stuff. And I loved how they talked about humans being like, oh, dang, humans sound, pretty terrifying and badass, and it's like, and the whole idea of like, oh, well, and I think they said that the spirit was, part of the thing that caused trouble or something like that. I can't remember exactly
what they said specifically was that given the tenacity of the Lunarians to be constantly seeking war, it gives me a little bit of an idea of why humans, or maybe why humans shouldn't.
Right.
Why humans screwed it up.
Why maybe we shouldn't go back to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or just what humans were like back then.
Right.
But the other thing I thought that was very meta was they just dropped a little thing in there of because we're immortal, there's certain things that we don't seem to care about. And one of them, I think the Doctor and the white and blue, the silver and blue one, which I don't remember which one that was. Let me see. Was that Gauche? I don't know if that was Gauche, but anyway.
It might be Gauche.
It might be, but I don't think it was because this was one that had the hybrid split thing. It was looking for the resin and stuff. So when the Doctor was talking to them, I think it was the Doctor said something about how we don't seem to care as much about how our enemies keep changing up their tactics. Like, we remain unchanged while our enemies are constantly changing. And literally, this whole episode was how the enemies worked tactics. In this spy, essentially, to change tactics, to lead one of them out of the area
away from any help.
And here's the other really crazy thing, right? Because this is crazy, y'all. Because Ventricosus was not Foss, because Ventricosus was not Foss. There is a this is crazy.
Oh, Foss might have a connection to.
Well, no. Ventricosus somehow knew a way to only make a connection with Foss so that they would have a targeted means by which they would separate Foss from the rest of them and actually.
Yep. And that could be because of the
bonding process.
The bonding when the
shell took up the parts of Foss. Yeah.
That could totally be it.
But that was intentional then.
Right.
That was intentional.
Right. And that was something that was planned from the get-go.
Ventricosus knew that would work.
Right.
I believe so.
And knew that's one of the other things. If they're boned, if they're unchanging, and all that, then that means they're predictable, right? And the idea of they'll just find a way to repair Foss. There you go. Because this whole plan, it's not like Ventricosus, as far as we know, had some contact with Lunarians this entire time. It's nope. Okay, drop me in. I'll go there. All right. I'll eat one of them. Do all this stuff. Form the connection. Blah blah blah. I'll get them to go to the ocean.
And the whole thing of just trying to freak out, and be like,
yep.
Tell them stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
crazy. He's like, get this thing out of me. Now,
yep.
I wonder, weird whack theory.
Okay.
Were Foss and Ventricosus already in communication before that? Before they were separated?
Oh, before they were separated. Possibly, but I almost feel like what they're going for is that because Foss was separated, like Foss was separated, that Foss wasn't necessarily able to have much cognitive thought. Because all the pieces were, like, disassembled in other places.
I think that's probably what they'd be going for, yes, because they don't have the ability to live, essentially, without being reformed back to the most parts of what they had. But I just say it's really insidious that this all worked so well with Ventricosus. Now, I'm very interested in Ventricosus' character and saving her brother, Aculeatus. That's the names in this
pronunciation.
Show. Pronunciation, yeah. Very interested in that. But yeah, I'm glad you touched upon the element thing, because that actually led into the thing of this, where this amorphous blob of my thoughts is with regards to the Admirabilis being water is the element of change.
Yeah.
I'll leave you with that. I feel like there's so much there.
And it also goes along with the whole thing of, it makes more sense that like water and air would get along better than say earth and air.
Oh, okay.
Like,
sure.
I mean, that's it's a slight thing, but it's like, it's those little things where it's like, was that planned? Or, who knows?
But yeah, the world, the story,
it's getting bigger.
Everything just opened up again, and Foss is again broken.
Yeah.
Like, this is really bad. Who knew that they were going to the ocean? Did anyone know?
No one.
Did Shinobar see them off or something?
Well, no one saw Foss off, but a bunch of people knew that Foss wanted to go to the ocean.
Who? Besides Adamant?
The doctor, and then the other one, because I'm guessing the other one that was there, that would have been Gosha, I think. Because they were both talking.
Gosha is pure silver. There's another one out there that I haven't gotten the name of that's silver and blue. But anyway, keep going.
Okay,
sorry.
Because they were having a conversation about the stuff that was missing, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is kind of weird though that they didn't make Foss like Foss stole resources that were important. So I think there might be something there to the whole Adamant was kind of like, oh, we'll let this happen.
Yeah.
Maybe Foss was asking a few too many questions, and it's like, yeah, I'll let you go if you just disappear.
See what you figure out. Yeah.
That might end my problem with you potentially.
Oh, sure. Yeah, or that too. Yeah.
Death, murder by negligence, essentially.
Sure.
But Foss is the main character, so somehow Foss is going to make it out of this, especially since Foss made it back from being dissolved by a snail.
Right.
So maybe there's going to be a reveal where actually Ventricosus is like, this is how much you can take. I keep the rest. I like this one.
Oh, damn.
That could be kind of interesting. Anyways, do you have any predictions about the next episode? Because I don't. I just want to see it.
Okay, my prediction is that Foss won't actually be saved. That Foss will be taken to the Lunarians, and that's where we'll get the next step.
But Foss will find that the Lunarians are not harvesting in an evil way.
Not necessarily. Who knows? Like, it could be, but the idea is that Foss will get taken by the Lunarians and be able to observe the Lunarians in a way that is different than, like they'll take Foss to the moon, for instance, or something like that. Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to predict that Ventricosus will not be happy exactly with this, but given that her brother is the primary motivation she has, the only other thing I could see coming would be a save by Shinobar. And that would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I don't think Black Diamond Bortz. Yeah, Bortz. I don't think Bortz would come. I think Adamant, though, potentially saving would actually be another cool thing to develop his character some more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm either Shinobar, Ventricosus, or Adamant is going to save Foss. That's my prediction.
Favorite part from this episode.
Praise be to them. Like, seriously, that part made me just it so surprised me because it was so vain and yet so yes, praise be to them. I was like, yes, yes. It was so silly and so unnecessary that I could just see the writer, the manga or the light novel writer or whatever, being just like, yeah, this line is so encapsulating of what a personality of someone that embodies the flesh would say when someone asked about their boobs.
Right. Yeah.
Praise be to them. I'm
right, because all the
10 out of 10
world building stuff, it's like we knew we were going to get something along that vein, right?
If anything, that was the enticement.
Right.
I can't talk about it. I have so many weird ideas about
my favorite part. My favorite part has got to be the interactions that we saw between Adamant and Cinnabar, because it was
yes, that was really good too.
That was
really good too.
It was moving, and it was contrary to what we had or at least what I had expected thus far from what we had seen from Adamant and everything, and it was another element of dimensionality that I was not expecting.
Totally.
Everything with the world building was just flawless execution on what I was expecting.
Right.
But that was something where it was like, okay, this
that did blow my mind. The intro also kind of blew my mind as well. Yeah. This show knows how to attack the story from many different angles and
almost like light refracting through a gem.
Yeah, exactly. And give us the sense of, okay, this story has still yet to build its final direction, like it's like actual direction it's going to be going, and yet I am strung completely along for the ride. I am so engaged in this world. Like, I want more. So good job. Well done.
Yep.
Amazing stuff. The good banter between Ventricosus and Foss, they were really hilarious with each other.
Absolutely fantastic.
That was hilarious. Other than that, next episode. Ready to call it? This has been an amazing discussion. So thank you all for sticking around. If you did, if you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. Any level of support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us about stories, Land of the Lustrous, non-spoilery of course, or just hang out in general and chat about whatever. And if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.